What's going on, everybody? I am Grayson, and it is the end of the year. 2025 was a massive year for cinema as a whole. I think this is one of the best years we've had in cinema probably for the last 20 years. It's been an excellent time full of action, romance, horror, all different sides of the coin, from small indies to big blockbusters. It's had it all. It's been absolutely fantastic. Obviously, wasn't able to see everything that was released. Some of the movies I missed out on. I was able to see Avatar at the end of this last year. Begonia was a big one. Wasn't able to see. I didn't end up seeing Wicked for Good, even though I saw Wicked last year. There's been a ton of things I missed out on, just because of my busy schedule. But I was able to watch over 65 movies that were released in 2025. So I think I have a good grasp of what was great this year and what was bad this year as a whole. Number 10, Eternity. Eternity was a film that grasped my attention because Elizabeth Olsen was in it. I love Elizabeth Olsen as an actress. I think she's absolutely fantastic. Love and Death from I think 2 years ago was one of my favorite limited series I've ever watched. It was absolutely fantastic. That's mostly due to Olsen's performance. And then the idea of Eternity wrapped me into the situation where you get to choose your own forever, basically. But then, she has to choose between the two men in her life, the two most important men that she's been with, to choose to spend that eternity with, if not by herself. It was such an interesting idea that I think we're missing nowadays. Rom-coms and cheesy action movies kind of have been erased from cinema in the last few years. It's been replaced with Netflix when it comes to those, and big cinema experiences aren't willing to shell out money for those type of movies because they're not profitable at this point in time. And Eternity decided to take that idea and say, fuck you. It's fantastic. Olsen, Turner, and Teller give fantastic performances. Their chemistry is off the charts, and the story is so emotional and heartbreaking and heart-feeling at the same time. I cried in my showing. Absolutely fucking fantastic. From the performances and the story, it was funny at the same time as just like absolutely brutal to your feelings, and it drags a little bit towards like the last act of the movie. But honestly, I didn't wait. I loved my time with it. I enjoyed everyone's performances. It was absolutely fantastic. This actually sat outside the top 10 for a while after I watched it, because I wasn't really sure how I felt fully about it. But then reviewing the movies that were ahead of it, I liked this so much better. I had a fun time with it. I think it is an absolute gem that I think that in a few years down the line, like in like 3 to 4 years, people are gonna look back and see this movie and they're like, why haven't I watched this sooner? Or it's gonna have like an awesome run on Prime or Netflix. It will have a second resurgence at some point in time in the near future. I promise you that, and I think if you haven't watched it already, you should. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's not Oscar worthy, but it's absolutely like one of those like comfort films that just absolutely wreck you at the same time. Number 9 is F1, the movie. I'm not into F1, the sport, whatsoever. I really don't enjoy it. I don't find it very enjoyable. And honestly, when I had this movie ranked for a long time, I didn't really know that it would stay in the top 10. But every time I think about this movie, I get it. It's the most basic fucking sports movie in the world. It's the old man comes to teach the young guy and gives it up and finally gets it all, whatever. That story's been told a million times. This movie really shines in its action. Pitt and Idris are fantastic as a pair. Their chemistry is very good in this movie as rivals and counterparts to each other, and it's great. Like, the acting is great. But something about movies like this is that they often don't know how to capture the magic of the sport or what they're trying to convey properly. But F1 keeps its foot on the gas. I mean that quite literally. It keeps your foot on the gas to a point where it's undeniably great and undeniably heart-pounding, and it's a fantastic story to be not that it hasn't been told before, but to be in the driver's seat with with Pitt and Idris throughout the whole movie is absolutely fantastic. And it was mostly because I was in the theater that I think this movie got so elevated. I haven't watched it since, but F1, when it was in the theater, my heart was pounding. I felt the adrenaline. I was anxious the entire movie because of how fast-paced this movie is. how fast the cars are. Like the danger is present at every turn that they take, and they don't shy away from it. I remember I went to the bathroom right before the final climax, and I was like, okay, cool. And my heart rate was normal. It was low 70s. It was fairly normal. During the climax, that last race, with the last chance to get it all, my heartbeat climbed 50 beats per minute, which only really happens when you're having an extreme anxiety attack, or you're doing exercise. And I was doing neither. I was sitting there watching and waiting, gritting my teeth. It was able to capture my moment in time where I just was fully in the moment with our characters, and that's something that a lot of movies can't just capture. But this movie absolutely does that, and I could not take it out of the top 10. I can promise you I tried to remove it from the top 10, but every time I thought about it, I just thought about the moment, my heart beating, like the adrenaline that was going through my veins. It was absolutely like intoxicating. I could not remove it from the top 10 because of how it made me feel, and that's been my big thing for this list. I'll be real. My list has been mostly like there's been a lot of like, this movie is fucking fantastic. It's absolutely great, but can it make me feel a certain way? And you'll see that throughout the list. But F1 is the first victim of that, being a absolute non-stop adrenaline pulsing action sports film, and I absolutely adored it. I can't wait to watch it again at some point and see if it shapes up the same way I thought it would. Number 8 is Wake Up Dead Man, the third film of the Knives Out trilogy from Rian Johnson. I love the original Knives Out. It's one of my favorite films of 2019 when it first released, and it's like the only time I've ever seen Chris Evans actually act his ass off outside of the Avengers films. And Glass Onion was kind of a downbeat for me. I really didn't enjoy it as much, but Wake Up Dead Man absolutely nails it. It is not only is it a fantastic murder mystery comedy, which is trying to deal with the clue aspect of things, but also on top of that, it's having a great discussion when it comes to religion in its day and age, and its influence on our people, and how it's been like tainted and messed with, and it's done wonderfully through the cast through Daniel Craig's performance and Josh O'Connor as the priest, and the cast obviously is fantastic. It has like A-listers across the board: Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Meryl Streep. It's filled with a bunch of A-listers, and everyone does their part. I don't think anyone really lacks. Mila Kunis is probably the worst victim of lacking, if you want to pick one, but she's not in the movie very much. But the movie is a great diagnosis of the current state of the world and where it stands when it comes to religion. Where I didn't feel like I was being talked down to when it came to religion. I didn't feel like anyone was being like victimized or pointed at, but it was able to have a discussion in such a wonderful way, and that being told in an awesome murder mystery. I honestly did not know where this movie was going for a majority of it. I picked out the killer like right away, but that was just kind of a shot in the dark. I didn't really get why or how or where we were going with it. I picked that person and I said, yeah, that person's the killer, and then kind of just watched it all unfold, and I was caught off guard at every turn. It was an awesome 2.5 hours to sit down. It didn't really feel like 2.5 hours. It felt like maybe an hour 45 if I was really feeling like good about it. Like it went by really fast for a 2.5 hour film to fill that all in and have impactful moments and have emotion that was deep and relatable when it comes to religion and faith, and it was I adore this movie for everything it has. It just absolutely blew my mind on how it could convey the message that it was trying to do, and it did it wonderfully, but also keep us on track with the comedy aspect of things. The movie's hilarious, but also at the same time keep the murder mystery intact, where it felt like there were stakes at every moment that we were spending. Number 7 has been a film I've been thinking about a long time. I've been wanting to talk about it for a long time. Companion is at the number 7 spot, and it's absolutely fantastic. I knew of Sophie Thatcher before this. Like, the doors were blown off when it came to her. She was absolutely fantastic as Iris. I'm very upset this movie kind of gave away its own twist. The twist was very well done. I went into a blind. Right after it dropped on Max, I watched it, and I was absolutely floored by its messaging, and its cinematography, and its acting. Like I said, Sophie Thatcher is fucking fantastic in this. It got me to rewatch, not rewatch. It got me to watch Heretic after this because of her performance in it, and it's got me interested in Yellow Jackets because of how well she was in this. And I absolutely love this movie. I don't want to give too much of it away, but Companion was so good. After I finished watching it, I bought it on Blu-ray. Actually, I haven't bought many 2025 releases on Blu-ray just yet, but I bought it on Blu-ray. Like right as soon as I finished the movie, it was like, okay, I gotta buy this. It was that good. It was that fantastic. Its messaging, the way they do it with analogies and metaphors, especially when it comes to like women empowerment and the place in the patriarchy when it comes to things. And it was awesome. I love this movie. It was so good, and I don't want to talk about it too much because this movie is that good where I want you to go watch it without any knowledge, or with minimum knowledge that you have from it. Besides, Sophie Thatcher's fantastic. Jack Quaid is always good in his movies, and it's just, I loved it so much, and the thrilling aspect of things, and man, I love it. It drags a little bit in that third act. That's why it's so low. I constantly think about rewatching it like on a weekly basis, just because I'm like, ooh, I go through my list. I'm like, yeah, I should go rewatch Companion because it's just like I missed how I felt during that movie because it was awesome. Coming in at the 6th spot, I feel like a lot of people are gonna judge me for the spot, but like I honestly can't. I couldn't drop it lower. Like I was thinking about the movies of the year, and honestly, I just couldn't drop it any lower than what we're currently at. And that being K-pop Demon Hunters. I know. It was a kids movie. It took the world by storm. Everyone loved this movie when it came out, but I honestly adore it. Everyone I've talked to who has watched it and is like cinema brained as I am are like, this is like the middle of my list, like the 20s. This is my 6. I can't lower it. The characters are infectious. I love every one of them. Rumi, Zoe, and Mira are absolutely fantastic protagonists that are all likable in their own way. Antagonists of Jinwoo and the Saja boys are fun antagonists to follow around. They're not given too much, but besides Jinwoo, but it's awesome. They're fun, and having the music bang as hard as it did, the animation be as good as it was, is astounding to me for a team that sold the rights to this to Netflix because they didn't think it would do well in theaters, and it probably would not do well in theaters. This is actually, K-pop Demon Hunters is like my prime example of streaming working for once and it doing its job. There's zero thought in my mind that this would make $1 billion, but it got so popular and did so well because of its performance on Netflix. And I know every parent's watched this movie 1,000 times and listened to the soundtrack 1,000 times, but it's one of those movies that, unlike like Frozen, where it gets really obnoxious really quickly, this movie, I've watched it a few times this year, and I've been like, this shit bangs, just because it's so good and so well done. The story is fantastic. The story of not only love, being yourself, conquering your own demons, essentially, is awesome, and I enjoyed every second of it. I did not think it would hit as hard as it did when people were recommending it to me. I'm like, okay, I'll take a look at it. And when I watched it, I'm like, yep, this is one of the best movies of the year. It was like, that was my first thought after I finished. I'm like, okay. I honestly wanted to rewatch it right then and there. I had things to do that day, so I didn't. But I absolutely love K-pop Demon Hunters. It is absolutely fantastic, absolutely astounding. I love K-pop Demon Hunters. Number 5 is Chainsaw Man: The Res Arc movie. I actually did a review on this. I will leave a link in the description below for you guys to watch that in full. But I'll kind of quickly sum this up. This movie is fantastic animated from top to bottom. I just rewatched it actually to like make sure this is a good spot for it. And yeah, absolutely fantastic animation. The story is absolutely amazing. I think the characters are relatable and enjoyable. The way I explained it in the review was, this is like watching the memories of your first love just played out on the screen. And I think it absolutely nails that aspect of things, even to the explosive finality when it comes to their solutions, because this movie is played out like a romance film essentially for the first like 45 minutes to an hour, but that last half is just full action, and it knows what it's doing. It knows it doesn't need to take a break. It knows that it just needs to keep its foot on the gas at that point in time, that where it just It feels every need. I think this is the best anime movie of the last few years. I can't remember one that's been better in the last few years, but absolutely fantastic animation, fantastic storytelling, and just overall a fucking great film that I want to watch. I love so much that it put Chainsaw Man over the edge for when it comes to one of my favorite anime. Like that's definitely top 5 when it comes to things. Um, it's so good. It's so well done, and it sucks that I can't recommend this to many people because you have to have somewhat of the background knowledge of Chainsaw Man, and there's a lot of negativity when it comes to Chainsaw Man and its public perception because of this material. Uh, that it becomes hard to actually go out and be like, hey, you should watch this movie because of how good it is. And I think a lot of people are missing out because of that. But yeah, Chainsaw Man, the Resident Arc movie, is absolutely fantastic and lands at number 5. Just absolutely spectacular storytelling when it comes to this year. I can't ask more from it. Number 4 is a surprise to me. Number 4 is Superman. I'm not a big fan of the Guardians movies from James Gunn. I'm not a fan of James Gunn in general. I don't think I've liked many of his movies. But this movie does something. It might not be the prettiest movie. It might not be the best like acting movie. It might not be a lot of things. But it does one thing very well. And it makes you feel. Like I said earlier in this video, a lot of this year was me trying to feel stories rather than be critical of them. And Superman does that so well. Like this movie made me want to feel like a better man for like 2 months. This is what Barbie was for men. That's essentially what it was. And I love Barbie and I love this movie. It's absolutely fantastic. Cornsett does a fantastic job embodying the character of Superman to a point where he's almost the definitive guy. If it wasn't for Christopher Reeves, I would be like, yeah, that's Superman on my screen. Maybe give it another movie and he already is there, but this movie is filled with so much heart and so much feeling and so much emotions that are articulated so well throughout the story, throughout the script, that I am genuinely. It's all it really was. It was it was the feeling of the movie, and it's hard to do that. I think that's one of the hardest things to do in cinema is that you're gonna have a great story, have great cinematography, you can do all these things also great, but the fact of the matter is that you can't make someone feel that way unless you put your heart into it. And James Gunn put all his heart and soul into this movie, where I feel every second of this movie and what it's trying to do, and it's absolutely fucking fantastic. I was very skeptical of the DCU. I loved the Batman, and I was like, this movie should be separate. I watched Superman, I'm like, yeah, fuck it, merge them, because this makes sense. A absolutely fucking fantastic movie that it made me feel what it wanted me to feel, and it does that fantastically. And actually, this movie was 1 for a while. I had it at number 1. Then I started thinking about things and thinking about the movies, and honestly, it's not a testament to how good this movie is, but how good the other movies ahead of it are, that it drops to 4. I just absolutely adored it, and I can't wait for more Superman from James Gunn and David Corns. But I think they are a power duo when it comes to Superman. They understand the character well enough, and it's a great not only translation to screen, but also a fantastic translation to the feel of how Superman is supposed to make you feel full of hope and joy and to be a better person. And it's hard to do, and I know that a lot of people, other men felt that way when they came out this movie. A lot of people in general felt that way coming out this movie, rather than how a lot of things in this world make you feel. And I think that's really important nowadays. And it's just unashamedly full of joy and full of hope. Number 3 is One Battle After Another. I know this is going to be a lot of people's number 1. I understand them. Paul Thomas Anderson did fantastic in this movie. This is probably one of the best structured movies I've ever watched. It's a 2.5-hour movie that felt like an hour 20. It felt like 80 minutes flat, and I enjoyed every moment of it. It was absolutely fantastic. This is full of performances that are lifetime performances. Benicio del Toro is fantastic. Sean Penn is one of the most scary but also laughable villains. It's fantastically it's a fantastic look at our current U.S. government through Sean Penn's character. Leonardo DiCaprio does DiCaprio things. Chase Infinity as Willa is fantastic. This is her first leading role, and she's absolutely fantastic. Tiana Taylor as her mother in the movie, Regina Hall, are both fantastic supporting actresses. That this movie literally is so good. It is so well done. The problem I have with this movie is, I haven't rewatched it since it came out, but the problem I had with this movie was it didn't make me feel the way it was supposed to make me feel all the way. It hit that half mark, and that's why it's below 2 movies ahead of it. It's not because of how good it is, but because of how it made me feel, because it didn't achieve its goal. I know what it was going for, and I felt some of it, but I wasn't able to achieve that goal fully. But it's so good. It's so undeniably good that it had to be in my top 5 no matter what. It has not left the top 5. It has jumped up 2 spots, actually. It was, I think, at 5 at one point in time, now it's at the 3 spot, and I can't deny its greatness. It's absolutely fantastic. Do not be surprised when this sweeps the Oscars. It is that good. I understand, I see its greatness, and it failed on one simple level, and that's why it's here at 3, but this could easily sweep the Oscars. And that's not me being like, yeah, this year sucked full of movies. No, this is because of the talent behind the camera in front of the camera. It's all well done. Do not be surprised if one battle after another sweeps the Oscars. Number 2 is Hamnet. Chloe Zhao is very hit or miss for me. I like some of her things. I don't like some of her things. Like, she's very hit or miss when it comes to her projects. And I kind of felt that coming into this movie. I was like, ooh, I don't really like Eternals because that kind of fell apart, but whatever it was. But I was like, everyone's glowing about this movie. I have to see what it's about. I have to see what everyone's talking about. This movie basically tells the story of how Hamlet came together, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. It's absolutely full of joy at the same time. Like, the performances by Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal are fantastic. They wrap you into the story even if you weren't interested in the first place. And the storytelling, it might be just 2 people talking, but the emotion's there, and the feeling, the tension, everything is there for you to feel. And Jessie Buckley, especially, because I think that she is my pick to be Best Actress this year because of her performance in Hamnet, is absolutely mind-boggling. The way she was able to just grab you in her performance and make you feel what she is feeling at every second that she's on screen. And it's absolutely amazing what she was able to do on the screen. And Paul Mescal delivers a fantastic performance as William Shakespeare, where if you wanted to give him Best Supporting Actor, I'd be so happy to hand it to you. When Sean Penn's still in the conversation for one bit after another, like, I'm so unraveled with the performances in this movie because they're so good, and they bring you into the movie so much more than like a normal performance would. And Chloe Zhao is able to direct this so wonderfully, and it's such a beautiful movie at the same time. And that last scene broke my heart. I was bawling my eyes out. I could not hold myself together with that last scene. I'm starting to choke up now. It's absolutely phenomenal storytelling from Chloe Zhao and Buckley and Mescal. Those are the 3 big performances in the movie. The child actors are even fantastic in this movie. Do you know how hard to get good performance out of them without them having to be like these prodigies? She gets it out of them, and it's absolutely fantastic. I love Hamnet. I think it's a quiet. It's going to interrupt either the next movie on this list or one better than another's Oscar celebrations when they don't sweep it all. Because if they're not going to sweep, I can see Jessie Buckley stealing an Oscar away, and I would not be angry one bit because of how good she is in this movie. There's so many all-time performances this year, and Jessie Buckley is like the top on my list this year when it comes to performances because of how good she is in this movie. And I absolutely adored her performance, and that's why that movie would not be the same without her. And that's hard to say for a lot of movies. A lot of movies would be basically the same thing with anyone else, but Jessie Buckley absolutely hits a home run. So this year, it's been weird. I've moved my list around so many times. I've adjusted this list so many times over and over again, and the one thing that always came back to me whenever I adjusted or rethought about the list, when I got bored or whatever, whenever I needed to feel this out a little bit more throughout the year, is that my number 1 movie of 2025, Sinners, is absolutely the best movie I've seen all year. Sinners is what happens when you let an artist paint, when you let an artist sing, when you let an artist do their work, do their craftsmanship on full display for everyone. Ryan Coogler is absolutely fantastic, one of the best directors in the world, and I don't think anyone thought differently before this movie. But he absolutely showed why he should be in that conversation over and over again. That he should be in the best director conversation when it comes to this movie. Michael B. Jordan doing a dual acting performance fantastically. We got a bunch of those this year, but Michael B. Jordan is still the best one that's been put to screen. And it's a fantastic, fantastic movie. And there's this one scene with the barn burning down. It is absolutely, absolutely perfect. Perfect cinema. It is an art piece put onto screen. And like watching that scene was like, this is why movies exist, for this moment exactly. And Ryan Coogler dragged it out of it. It's an emotional story of brotherhood, love, entrepreneurship, and the American dream put on full display, as well as putting the backdrop of vampires, Jim Crow South, is absolutely fucking phenomenal. I heard about the story, this movie a year and a half before it came out, and I was like, that's gonna be movie of the year. And it's fucking movie of the year, dude. It's absolutely fucking fantastic. I love Sinners so much, and I've it's been hard for me not to be like, this is best movie of the year. I've thought about it. I've been like, people have been trying to sway me from it for a while, and I was like, I could not remove it from there. I did it for when it came to Superman. I did it for Hamnet for a second. I did it for a few movies for a while, and I just could not. It couldn't deny how Sinners was able to put the artistic being on screen for full display for everyone to watch, and absolutely not miss a beat. This movie does not waste a second. Every performance is fantastic. Even like the weaker performances in the movie, I still think are very, very good. And it's an absolute joy to watch. I could watch Sinners 1,000 times over again and still want more. It is absolutely fantastic how much it breathed an air of artistic being to. And this movie came out in March, stayed the whole year up for failure essentially because of how good it was. And I absolutely enjoyed every single second of Sinners. I will never get over it, man. It is so goddamn good. With that being said, let me know what your top 10 movies of 2025 were. Do you agree with me that Sinners is the best movie of the year? Where's the rank for you if it's not your best movie of the year?